episode of Muscle Meals with Steve. It's been a long time. I lost some weight. I went on a gluten-free, carb-free diet, more for medical reasons than for losing weight. I lost about 35 pounds. So we're going to start cooking everything on here, probably gluten-free if possible, for anybody out there who's interested in it. And today we're going to make Ropa Vieja. And let's get cooking. Okay, we're going to start with a 2-pound flank steak that I bought at a local big grocer. And we're going to cut it into 2 1-pound pieces, so that'll be a little bit easier in the pot to cook it. I purchased an induction cooktop since the last video that I've made. It's really unbelievable. You can only use the cast iron and the stainless steel on it, but man, does it cook quick. I'm going to grab some cooking spray, and I'm going to coat the bottom of this pan with some cooking spray, and pop in the first half of steak. And I trimmed off the fat before I started filming this, so I trimmed off any extra fat that was on the outside. And we'll pop that in there and we'll cook it for approximately 2.5 to 3 minutes on each side. I'll do both of them and then I'll come back and show you what they look like. Okay, I'm going to give you a shot of what this looks like in the steel pan. The cast iron pan, that's what I use to cook this. Okay, take the first piece out, I'm going to add the second piece. Do the same thing, 2.5 to 3 minutes on each side, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. Food processing, 2 red onions, some yellow and orange peppers. This recipe actually calls for green peppers, but I didn't realize that I didn't have any in the fridge when I started recording. So I'm going to use colored peppers, red, orange, and yellow, but probably green will work out better for your recipe. I'm going to continue this, and then we're going to transfer them into the pot and saute them for about 7 minutes. And I threw in 4 to 5 medium-sized garlic cloves and sliced them, and they're in the food processor as well. Okay, I'm adding the vegetables into the pot. And like I said, we'll cook these on a medium heat. Medium heat is fine. I'm using number 5 on this stove. And we'll cook them for about 7 to 8 minutes. This induction cooktop is really great because it has a built-in timer for the burner, so it makes it really easy to set a timer and not overcook it. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes and I'll show you what this looks like. Okay, I just want to show you that the peppers, onions, and garlic are cooking. Make sure you stir it frequently. And as soon as this is ready, about 2 more minutes, we're going to add a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of dried oregano, a teaspoon of ground cumin, and a half a teaspoon both of rosemary and fresh black pepper. And what I've done, and I prepared that over here, we're also going to toss in about 6 tablespoons, which is about half of a jar of thinly sliced green pitted olives with the pimento in it. So I'm going to add all of that in, and then we're going to cook that just for about 30 seconds, and you'll really smell some great flavor, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so I have the peppers and onions cooked. I'm going to put that seasoning that I told you about, and we're going to add all of these chopped up, I call them pimento olives, but about a half a cup. And we're going to stir that for about 30 seconds. And then we're going to add 6 tablespoons of sherry vinegar. If you don't have sherry vinegar, and I don't, I'm going to use balsamic vinegar, and I have just a little bit left in here, so it should be just about the right amount, so I'm not measuring it. And you know what? I realized I don't have these lights on for you guys, so maybe that'll make life a little bit better. Anyway, I'm going to cook these spices for 30 seconds. The smell is really unbelievable, really great. The timer's going to go off, and then I will add in the sherry vinegar, and then we're going to add 3 cups of low-fat beef broth, low sodium. You can buy it packaged, I do, or you of course can make your own. And then the last really ingredient, or 2 more ingredients, is actually a tablespoon of tomato paste, I bought some in a tube and then 2 bay leaves. And then we'll add the meat back in and let it cook for almost 90 minutes to 2 hours. Now let me add this in while you guys are here. Like I said, this is probably a little bit shy of 6 tablespoons, but another soldier gone, so we'll get rid of that. Okay, I'll be back in a few seconds. Okay, after we added the vinegar and the spices, you want to cook it for about 2 minutes to let most of the vinegar boil off, and then we'll add the broth, the tomato paste, and the 2 bay leaves. So while that vinegar is boiled down, we're gonna add our chicken broth. Like I said, I buy it packaged. You can find it in any supermarket. And I usually buy the low sodium unless the recipe doesn't call for it, and this one does. So we're gonna add the three cups of the liquid. And then we're going to add a little bit of tomato paste. It's about a tablespoon. Like I said, I'm using the kind in a tube, but you can use the kind in a can. Tomato paste goes in. And we'll add our 2 bay leaves. Stir it. So far so good. I'll add the meat back in. And some people add chocolate to this. I've had that before. It's really delicious. So I may add a piece of dark chocolate to this. And make sure the meat is submerged in the liquid, and I will cover it. Keep it on a slow boil for about 90 minutes. And here you go. Here's a shot of the ropa cooking. And just make sure it's been about 45 minutes, so about halfway done. And I'm going to add that chocolate that we talked about, just to give it a different flavor today. And this is optional. You don't have to add it. And that's baker's chocolate. And I'm using semi-sweet today. Okay, the last step on the Ropa Vieja is to take it out of the pot. And it's probably better to do this when it cools off a little bit because it's easier to handle. I'm going to put in a cutting board with a drip edge. And you take 2 forks and you hold it and you shred the meat by holding it down with 1 fork and shredding it with the other. And you do this for both pieces, and then you put it back into the sauce. Just to keep it warm or to eat it the next day. Most of the liquid will evaporate, will be absorbed by the meat. So you serve it, it's not quite as liquid as it currently is. So I'll shred this and then come back, add it into the pot and show you what it looks like. You can see I'm shredding it with the grain. So I'm holding it down and just shredding, shredding, shredding. You get any big lumps, then you can split it up like this and just keep shredding it. The more you shred, the better, more fine it'll be and the better it'll taste. And there you go, there's the shredded meat back in the pot. And you coat it with the liquid. And then you can serve this over white rice. Or just plain, just like this. Usually you put the rice and black beans. And you put the rice on the side and put this in a little bowl, and then you can combine them together. So thanks again for watching another episode of Muscle Meals with Steve. I hope you enjoyed the Ropa Vieja, and good health through good eating. See you next time.